So hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel. So for this video I will cover the reflection and stretchers, and this is a part 1 video. Basically I will just mainly go over what is the basics of reflection in basic pre-calculus 12. So I have given you two situations here. So in the left picture here I show you the function f of x equals to x minus 2 squared. So basically what you need to do is to reflect this function using the x-axis of my reflection line. So also I give you the y equals gx function, and I want to do the reflection in y-axis. So this is my reflection line, and I want to know what is the reflection function for this function. So we'll give you some time to think about these questions, so please pause the video. So I hope you guys have a chance for doing these questions, so let's go over them. So in the first situation here, I show you the parabola, the quadratic function, and I want to transform this function in x-axis. So basically, you should get something like this. The parabola is opens downwards and is underneath the x-axis. Also, in this function, I show you the y equals gx function in the red color. So if I want to reflect this one in y-axis, I should get the reflection image in quadrant 2. So next, I want to cover the most important concept you're going to learn in this chapter. So what is the new function of each blue curve here? So this blue curve and this blue curve. And what's the function? So you already see that I'll give you the answer already. So basically, so for this one, I have negative f of x. So this blue curve is represented as negative f of x. And this blue curve here is represented as y equals g negative x. So what is the difference between these two and these two notation here? So basically the common thing about these blue curve, we have a negative sign here, right? So this negative sign is outside the function, but this negative sign is inside the bracket. So there are two different functions. So if you see the negative f of x, which means that this function has already been reflected in the x-axis. So if you see g of negative x, so this function has been already reflected in the y-axis. So this is what you need to know in this chapter. So y equals negative f of x. So this function is already reflected in x-axis. So y equals g of negative x. So this function is the reflected image in y-axis. So this is what you need to know in this section. So let's do an example before moving on to the next topic. So basically, I've shown you the original function y equals fx in the red curve, and I want to graph y equals negative f of x and also y equals f of negative x. So basically, I will give you some time to think about this question. So remember where the reflection occurs. So please pause the video and try this out. So make sure you try this out before you proceed. So let's do these two questions together. So we have y equals negative f of x in the first case. So negative f of x tells me that I need to reflect the original function in x-axis. So this is my x-axis, and I want to reflect this image in x-axis to get the first function, y equals negative fx. So basically in this function, I have 4 points here. So the first thing you need to do is always locate these points in the new function. So let's do this one first. Negative 2 and negative 4 is my original point here. And I want to know what's the new point for this function. So this function is basically, if this is the original function point, so basically this point right here is the new function. So what about this one? So we have negative 4 and negative 1 here. And the new function point corresponds with this one. So, and this one, negative 8 and negative 5. The new point is about at this position. So, and also we have origin point. I don't need to change this one. So basically, if I connect this point here, I will get this function, the first function, y equals negative f of x. So what about the second function, y equals f of negative x? So what does the function looks like? So basically, if you remember from last lecture, I showed you that the function negative x, this function is reflected in y-axis. So which means that I need to take this function right here, the red function, and using the y-axis to reflect, and we got the green function, y equals f of negative x. So let's first plot the point first. So the first point is at 0, 0. So this point, when I reflect using the y-axis, I get the same point. So I didn't change this one. So the point, I'm starting from here, and this point right here, -2 and -4. So after I reflect this point in y-axis, I will get the point, the new function in this position, right? And also -4 and -1. So after I reflect this one, I will get this point at this position. -8 and -5, if I reflect in y-axis, I will get the point, new point approximately at this location. And I need to connect these points together and I get the new function. So this function right here is what we call y equals f of -x.